Bylina, Dave. It comes out in 2025 by Far Games.
2025, yes, Bylina. This one's going to be short and sweet because there's not a lot to talk about here, but I do want to bring this to the table because I think this is a very interesting idea. We could go ahead and pull up the trailer, but Adam talked a little bit about this, how he's getting into Greek mythology in the beginning of the episode. I think this game is cool because it kind of is rooted in Slavic folklore, which is kind of the same kind of vibe, kind of feel. It's like legends and gods and monsters and beasts and warriors and things like that. And if you're just listening, I think the thing that really pulled me in watching this was just, I love this art style. I think the art style is fantastic. Very, I don't want to call it cartoonish, but it's very, looks hand drawn. You know what I mean? It looks drawn. I don't know if there's a better way to kind of put that together, but very bright and very vibrant. And I just think it's a really interesting idea, and the way that they kind of displayed this all together, I think is really fun. Now, the first part of the trailer, if you guys were just listening, is kind of more of like a cinematic, but the second part of the trailer is getting into a lot more gameplay, and I think the gameplay looks really fun and really fluid. It reminds me a lot of Diablo with this like kind of 3/4 top-down side angle-y kind of look, and this part in the trailer is really funny to me. There's this scene in the trailer where just all these people are like kind of doing this weird like head-banging ritual, like death metal ritual chanty kind of dance. So premise of the game, really interesting story. You are going to be playing as Falconet. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I'm very sorry if I'm not, but that is the name of the character that the way that I am reading it. And the story begins, you actually die. And you are revived by a mysterious spirit. But when you're revived by this mysterious spirit, you find yourself in a new land, and this new land is going to be known as Far Kingdom. And the very interesting thing about this is not only did that spirit kind of revive you, but you've also been possessed by that spirit, which is why in the trailer you get these like scenes of like the kind of rituals and chants like that. It's like a possession kind of thing. But you still maintain your awareness most of the time. So it's not like a full-blown possession. It's more just like, you know, this spirit.
It's like a Venom situation.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Venom situation. Yeah. And essentially what you're just going to be doing, there's 3 things you need to do. Number 1, reclaim control over your soul. Number 2, find out who the spirit is and why it's attached itself to you. And number 3 is save the kingdom. The name of the boss, or the evil guy here, is going to be Koschei the Deathless. So I think you were kind of, it's kind of left up into like interpretation from the trailer and the things that they're telling you that you need to do. But my guess is you died, this spirit brought you into this realm to help kind of defeat the Deathless, you know, Koschei the Deathless, the ruler here, bringing this kingdom back to like, you know, rejoicefulness, I guess, if that's a word. And then along the way, you're figuring out, like, you know, what's going on with you, getting your own soul back and stuff like that. So it's kind of left up to interpretation, but I think they have so many different ways they can go with this and, like, make the story really interesting, and then kind of feed that into the Slavic folklore. I mean, there's just so many different things that they can do and so many different ways to keep it interesting.
And it's got a lot of, like you said, it's got a lot of ways they can do it. And it seems like this is going to have just depth to the story. Like, it's not one of those like shallow stories. Like you said, there's like various things going on, trying to figure it out. And I think that's really cool. And yeah, like I said, I love Greek mythology. So bringing the Slavic myths, I don't know too many about them, but now I'm going to be like, okay, what's next, Adam, after Greek mythology? So maybe I'll look into some of this stuff. But what do you think of the gameplay? You think it's looking fluid? Like you said it a little bit. What do you think about the top down? Do you think it's a good view of the game? I'm not sure.
I think the top down of it is fine, to be honest. You guys all know that this is not my favorite angle in games. I just don't love it for whatever reason, but we're seeing a lot more games doing this. And I think as much as we're seeing like kind of advanced stuff in the combat, I still think it's going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be easy, but I think it's not going to be such a complex combat system. It's giving me vibes of Hades. Like it feels almost like a hack and slash, like Hades style button masher. That's what it looks like to me. And I think in that kind of context, I think it works fine because you don't need to be like ridiculously meticulous. You know what I mean? It's like that angle works fine on a hack and slash because it's really just about kind of getting in close and just mashing buttons. Now, if we're talking about like, a shooter that's not a twin stick or like anything where it's like very meticulous, in depth combat system, that's probably not the angle that I want. But for a game like this, I think it's fine.
Okay, and so this is going into the trailer a little bit. When you saw the guy like pulling his bow and arrow, and you saw the little flash of white, you think that was just them throwing in some like random animations, or you think that's the animation? Like you see the little white burst of like arrow going. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's probably the animation that they were going with. Because if you look at the gameplay, why you think they just threw it in kind of last second?
I think it looks like those royalty free animations for stuff like that. Yeah.
From like just the Unreal Engine 5, just kind of
Yeah.
stock shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
It could be.
maybe.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the trailer they threw it in, but I just felt like they seemed out of place, to be honest.
I mean, there's a possibility. This is a game by Firefire Games. This is their first title. This is the first game that they've ever put out. So I mean, it could have some stock stuff in it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's not a game breaker. It just felt funny to me that those animations just seemed out of place to me. But overall, I think that the story, the what's it, the resource of what is it called? The source material is really cool.
Yeah.
The art style is really neat, and I think this game is, like you said, it's gonna be one of those hidden gems. And going to the weapons a little bit, you know me, they have bow and arrows, so
That's kind of what I thought you might be interested in this
Yeah,
game because there is
so-
a bow and arrow. You're gonna get a sword. You can get a spear. So there's lots of different ways to play this game. Also, you're gonna get access to unique techniques and spells. So this is not just a hack and slash. If you want to go a little bit more of the stand back and go with like the magic route, you can go the magic route if you want to do that. I think there's gonna be a bunch of different ways to play this game. Each area, it's kind of like you're opening up sections of the game, and when you open up a new section of the game, you'll get access to new unique NPCs that it will control the game in different ways, secrets, puzzles, weapons, all that stuff. So I think it's for a first game, it feels like there's a lot here, and I'm kind of like I'm not only excited for this game, but if this game is as good as I think it is, like I'm excited to see what this studio can do. You know what I mean? Because it feels like they have a lot of ideas in place, and right now they just might not have that mainstream budget. But if this game's successful and they start, the studio starts making money, they already feel like they kind of know what makes a good game. They might just not have the ability to do it right now to the fullest. So I'm excited for the game.
it seems like this game's gonna have a little bit more. Like you said, it's got the makings of a good game, and from what it's gonna have a lot of exploration to it too, like different cities you'll be able to go to, like forests, dungeons, and castles. Like I feel like they're putting a lot into the atmosphere of the game, and I think that's really cool. And for a first game, like we've talked about a lot of these like developers that make some of these first games, like yeah, it's cool, like there's not much to it, but for this game, I really do think, like you've been mentioning, it has the makings of becoming a good game. It's got the source material to really have a just a good feel to it in terms of what am I trying to say? There's something I'm trying to say. Atmosphere wise, source material, it's got depth to it, is what I'm trying to say, I think.
It definitely has depth. It has a good vibe. And I think if you go back and really kind of look at the trailer, like kind of nitpick it, you can kind of see a lot of things in here. Like it's going to be, if I had to pick one game that it reminds me of the most of, it's definitely Hades. But it feels like it has a little bit more going on there, right? So it's like we've seen the combat system. We've seen you can either hack and slash this, you could stand back, you can do magic. If you go look through the trailer, there's also treasures to find. There's clips of them solving puzzles. That scene where he's running on the bridge and all the hands are coming out, like it feels like there's going to be little aspects of like platforming in here. It just feels like there's going to be a lot in this game. It feels like it's going to be a little bit of a lot. And if they do a little bit of a lot really well, it's going to be a fun game that's going to hold your attention. It's not going to get monotonous. It's you'll get in depth with the story, uncovering the secrets, solving the puzzles. Like if they do every little thing good, it's going to be a great game.
Do you think so? With all the different weapons, do you think it's gonna have different builds, or you just like you can switch the weapons as you please?
I don't feel like it's going to have different builds. I just feel like you're going to be able to switch to the weapons.
Gotcha. Kind of like Hades, where you can just re-equip different stuff.
Yeah, you can just re-equip different stuff. I feel like there's probably going to be some type of skill tree involved with like these unique techniques and skills. It's like, you know, once you get to a certain area, you probably get skill points. You can unlock different stuff, different spells, different techniques. It doesn't feel like there's going to be builds. It feels, you know, like we said, it's a first game. It's a smaller game. They're going to do a lot of a little. So I think builds would be a little bit too much for this. I feel like you're just going to get the character and just play as is. But I think that's fine. I think that's fine for this game.
I think so, especially for a developer's first game. I think this game has a lot to offer for a first game and a lot of promise for the developer, I think, in general.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm most excited about. This game looks fantastic. The developer looks like they kind of know what makes a good game. So excited to see where they go for this game and future games.